I've just put the leg of the tripod on my straw.
Well, I've got one of these horrible plastic ones.
Oh, yeah.
However, you can see from the amount of paint on it that it's been
Oh,
used.
yes. It's been well used. Yes. Yes. I thought this one's got paint on the ends because I tend to use it to dip in paint, and then, you know, so if I'm a bit, you'll understand why. Or if I come out with paint on a teeth.
Yum, yum, yum.
The funniest thing about the thin ones that you're using there, I find that they take too much huff. And so I go blue in the face and I look like a trumpeter because I like this trying to get through them. Oh, dear, dear. I think I've got everything that you wanted me to get.
Okay.
I haven't got any gloves. Are you wearing gloves?
You want to put gloves on, do, but it's acrylic paint, so it's no more dangerous than acrylic paint. We don't have to get messy, but I would say grab yourself like a dishcloth or something just to wipe your hands if you do get any on your hands.
Right, hold on. I'm going to go and grab some tissue from the garage, all right? Okay. And breathe. Look, I'm ready for a crisis. Look.
Oh, definitely.
Look.
Hello, my darling. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you very much. I'm fine. Had a bit of a sort of jiggle trying to get set up here, but I've managed it. It's fine. It's fine. It's cool.
It's a while since we've done a Zoom one of these, so you know, trying to set everything up. I've had lights go kaput, and you've had shadows here, and I've got. Anyway, we're just about there, aren't we?
I think. Well, I hope so. Our friends will soon tell us if we're not, won't they?
Absolutely. Anyway, everyone, welcome to this special edition of the Travelling Brush Dippers. Hello. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to both be using a product that I've used before, but Sharon hasn't. So I've set her up with some kit, and we're going to have a run through, and we're going to be using the Pebeo Pouring Experiences kit. And I'm going to take Sharon through it, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun on the way. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm scared.
Why are you scared?
I don't want to make a mess of it.
You won't make a mess of it.
I think with this kind of product, we learn to be so frugal with everything. Yes. And suddenly we're going to be using, you know, what would be to me copious quantities. Yeah, and it's this thing about waste, isn't it? You know, wasting it, don't waste it. So I want to use every last drop.
Well, we can do that. We can still do that, but it's going to be more paint than you're used to using. But shall I just highlight the kit and then we can have a look at it and talk everybody through what the kit is. I'll show you a few examples and then perhaps we can decide which way you want to go, because there are some choices of what we do. It's not just one trick. There's different things we can do.
Okay. Yeah, good plan.
Right.
What have we got?
Okay, so what we have here is the Pebeo Pouring Experiences. And as you can see, it's got 6 colours in there. We've got white, red, an ultramarine style blue, a turquoise, a black, and a gold. And they're all, as it says on here, ready to use. So if you've ever done or seen paint pouring, you look at it on the internet and you kind of go, oh my goodness, it's a chemistry experiment. There's recipes for this and this person uses this recipe, and you don't need to worry about any of that. This is all done and ready to use. So it makes it very simple.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take the colours out. So if you want,
can I take mine out as well?
Yeah. Put the box to one side.
They're good sized bottles, aren't they? They're not mean.
They are. Yeah, no, they are decent sized bottles.
Yeah. So
we're going to be using those. The other thing that we both have and we're going to be using is a little bit of silicone oil.
Yeah.
I believe you've got some of.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
And the rest of it is just stuff that, you know, you have around. We've got a straw. I've picked up a palette knife. I did have, and I know I had because I was twiddling with it just now, a stick.
Right, what's that to beat me with?
Yes, there we go. It's just a stirrer. So I've just got this
Right.
little stirrer. We can use it to spread things around a bit, you know, or the palette knife, or we'll use it to do a little bit of stirring.
Okay.
I've got a couple of cups.
Yeah.
As you can see, these are well used and reused, so I just wash them out afterwards and reuse them.
Oh, it's water soluble, is it?
Yes, it's an acrylic, water soluble acrylic paint.
Okay, right.
And then I'm going to be using a couple of these little shot glasses. I won't recommend put alcohol in these now because of the state of them, but these are just reused many, many times. These I've used with my oil-based Pebeo paints, which is why they've stained. But once it's dry, they're still perfectly okay to reuse. So we'll be using a couple of those, and then it's about deciding what technique you want to do. So shall I? I'll just move this to the side. Shall I show you a few options, and then you can choose which one you want to do?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Let's move these.
I've got my hairdryer out. Do I need a hairdryer?
You can try using it, definitely. You can either use the straw or the hairdryer, yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay, now this one I showed you, this is a ring pour, but then I've added beads and pearls into it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the ones that we can do.
Yeah.
And that's another one of the same sort. And then this one I've used blue goldstone that I've added into.
Oh, I know, yes, yes. That twinkles, doesn't it?
It does twinkle. It has got a little bit of twinkle to it.
Yeah.
Now this one
is I like that.
So that's quite fun.
So how do you do that?
Well, what you do is you put the paint down and then you literally take a piece of paper and just swipe it over it. You can do it with a palette knife or a piece of paper or a piece of plastic or something, and just swipe it up. And then what you end up with is all of these little layers where their colours interact with one another.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
So we've got one of those. Now I've got another one here I want to show you. Move it out of the way. This is what I thought we might like to do today, which is a tree ring pour. Okay, so this is a fairly straightforward technique, and this is just using the colours from the kit. But there's two ways of doing it. If you do it onto a dry board, we end up with this very neat edge around the side.
Yep.
But there is another way of doing it, which I have over here. So now this one, I've done it and I've put some more paint around the side, and then this is where I've used the straw to blow it. So this is the sort of thing I thought would be a good one for us to do, but the choice is entirely yours.
Okay. Oh, I'd like to do a bit of blowing or swiping.
Okay.
Could we do a bit of both on the same one? Half and half?
Yes, I don't see why not. Yeah. I don't think there are any rules, are there?
I don't know.
Right. I'm going to just come back and chat to you for a minute.
So Denise, why are these ready to use? Why can I not just use any acrylic that I have in my cupboard?
Okay, you can use any acrylic you've got in your cupboard if you mix it to the right consistency. And Pebeo do actually make a pouring medium that you mix with any acrylic paint that you've got, and it will become this. This has just already been pre-mixed in the right quantities, in the right texture. So if you want to just buy the pouring medium and use it with any colours that you've already got, you can. But this is even easier because it's just already mixed, and they do it in lots of colours. It's just they've chosen these colours for the sets, and actually they're a really lovely set of colours.
They're very nice, aren't they? They're summer colours, aren't they?
They're on the beach, aren't they?
Yes, beach huts and yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Lovely. Okay.
You've made me think, because you want to do a swipe and a tree ring pour and a bit of blowing. We're going to have to do bits and then add to it and all the rest of it. So it's going to be a bit of, I don't know what's going to happen. You're going to do something similar to me, but they're both going to be different. So if I did the same thing 3 times, it would come out completely differently because of the nature of what the paints do.
Yeah, Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, you can use these and draw a picture and pour into the picture, which I have done. And I'll put a link in the bottom because I've done one of those on my YouTube channel. So I'll put a link where you can use the pouring in a more directed way. But I have to say, I love the randomness of it.
Yes. Yes, and everybody, and this, presumably the cells that everybody talks about are created by the silicon, are they?
Yes, yeah.
Right, and that's why we add silicon oil.
Yes, and that's where it becomes a bit of a chemistry thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's all good fun. So I think what we need to do, I'm going to spotlight the boards, but I think I'm going to get us to do a swipe over the whole board. Then I think I'm going to put a couple of small tree ring pours on top of the swipe. Then we'll take the straw and go and see what happens.
Okay, all right.
Did you tell me before that you'd put your tripod on the straw and you've now got a bent straw?
Yes, I did. But it's all right. I've straightened it out again. It's a cardboard straw from those very well-known takeaway drive-throughs.
Well, my one is absolutely filthy because I've used it many times. I've dropped it in paint and it's been reused and reused and reused. And goodness knows, yeah. Anyway, we won't say any more about that.
I saw you waving yours about. I got mine out.
Okay. Well, you can use something like this, which is a little one.
Yeah.
You can use something like this.
Oh, I say, you've got a
one.
big one. I've only got a little one. Look.
Well, we'll use the little one then, just so that we're doing something similar. In fact, I've got this one handy because that's just a little bit longer.
Okay. So it gives you a broader swipe, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Look,
yeah.
I've got a bigger one there. I'll do that with that as well then. Okay. All right.
Yours is a darn sight cleaner than mine is, darling.
I don't think mine's metacrylic. I only ever use it for gesso and things like that.
Oh, okay. Righty ho. Now let's start off. Start off with, we're just going to put, I'm opening the whole thing up. You don't need to. We've got these lovely little nozzles on top. We're not using a cup just yet. We'll use that for the tree ring bit in a minute.
Okay.
So just go straight with the pot. And pour some down. And I'm going to do this with the white, and I'd suggest you use the white to start off with in 2 or 3 places.
Yeah.
Oh, don't be mean, use a bit more than that.
More than that.
Well, what you're trying to create is
Right.
we want to be able to use your palette knife just to create bands.
All right.
So it's got to be enough. Just flatten it out into a band like that.
Am I? Right, okay.
Okay. They don't have to be even and level, but just so that there's enough to create some bands.
Right, like that.
Yeah.
Remind me when we're finished, I must lock or close the studio up because I know of a certain cat who'd love to be in here. He'd love to be in here, walking all the way through it and nosing. He'll remain nameless for now, but we all know who I'm talking about.
We do all know exactly who you're talking about. Now we will be using the silicone oil in a minute, so we will need a cup. But just to start off with,
am I wiping this?
Sorry?
Am I wiping this or not?
Yeah, wipe your palette knife.
Don't forget, I need step by step.
All right, step by step. Right, wipe your palette knife.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
pick a colour, pick any colour you like. I would recommend perhaps not the black at this stage because the black is very powerful.
Okay.
So
how about the
colour.
Yeah.
And what you need to do is you need to pour a layer down over the top next to, but just do 2 or 3 layers. And can you see I'm kind of creating this in stripes?
Yeah.
So what the next thing to do is, again, to create a band with your palette knife, but try not to mix the two layers together at this point. It's just creating these bands.
Well, that's easier said than done, isn't it?
You just, what you're trying to do is cover the whole canvas at the minute,
Right, okay.
and then wipe your palette knife off again.
Right. Okay. Not as neat as yours, but never mind.
I told you they're all going to be completely different. Now, the
Okay.
next thing I'm going to do is I want to add some silicone oil to one of these colours. So I'm going to take one of my little cups.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put some colour in it.
Some colour in it.
Whatever colour you choose, about halfway up the cup. So can you see
Right,
that?
that's a bit bigger than yours.
Well, your shots are always bigger than mine, darling.
Now. Right, so something
probably
like
about a third of that cup.
right, yeah.
Next thing you need to do is to take the silicone oil.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's got a dropper in it. So you
Yeah.
want to put 2 or 3 drops into your colour.
Right.
Then we'll give it a stir.
So not much then.
No. But the stir doesn't need to be whipped up. That's probably enough. It's just
Oh,
a little
right.
stir. The thing with that is the more silicone oil you get, the more splitting you get.
Right.
The more stirring you do, the smaller the drops of silicone oil, so the smaller the cells are.
Okay, that's interesting. Right.
So it's about kind of learning how to control how much you have.
Right, yeah, okay.
Okay, so then that one can be.
We're doing that
Right.
next to our last colour, are we?
Oh, whatever, wherever you want it to be.
Okay. And use this all up, yes?
Yep, use it all up. And if you feel the need to, you can just take your little scraper and waste not, what not, because I know what you like.
Hey.
What we're trying to do is end up covering the whole board, but I'm not trying to mix them at this stage, so we're just kind of spreading them a little bit.
Right. So I'm going to do what I did with the others and just move
Push them
it
about a bit.
Okay.
And you shouldn't have, at the end of that, you shouldn't have masses of white board left.
No, I've got 2 stripes left, so do I need to put another colour in?
Yeah, just pick another colour.
I haven't been as generous as you, I feel, so
Well,
I'll,
I'm going to put a bit of red down, and then you can always do another colour with some silicone oil in it if you want to. If you've got a tiny little bit left. See, I've got that red. I think I am going to do some silicone oil with some black in it.
all right, I'll join you.
But just be careful with the black that you don't do too much of it, because it's, like I say.
So that means I'll put a bit more red in there.
Yep.
So that it covers the space a little better. Do you do your black in the same cup as you did the gold, or the previous cup?
Yeah, because I think it can make some quite interesting.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Right. So 2 or 3 drops again of silicone oil, yes?
Yes.
Gosh, this is like being back at school. It's lovely.
It's fun, isn't it?
Lovely. And don't stir too much, Sharon. Right. So you're going in up through there. And then you. All through there. Right.
And I'm not going to worry too much about whether we've got absolutely everything covered, because we're going to be putting the tree ring pour over the top. So if we end up with any gaps or bits you don't like, we can tree ring pour over the top.
Okay.
I can see from your scratch lines you're being quite timid with the amount of paint you've got down there.
Yes. Do I need to put some more on?
I would put a little bit more on, yeah.
Okay. Can I pour just directly onto it?
Yeah. Looks good.
Brilliant. Okay. Ta-da!
Okay, so we're ready.
Right, what we're doing?
There's different ways of swiping. One way of doing it is just to lay a sheet of like ordinary copier paper and drag it across.
Yeah.
But because we're going to do other things, I'm going to try and do this backwards and forwards just to give you a slightly different grab. So you've got the width of your palette knife.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start at the top here, and you're trying to float it. You really don't want to press. You just want to float it so that it kind of sits on top. And then you swipe through all the way through to the end and then lift it. Very gently. That's it. And then leave it alone.
Right.
I think perhaps you need to put your knife, your palette knife a little bit flatter down on. If you just have a little watch, mine kind of does the whole lot in one go. So I'm starting here and I've got the width of it, and it's just the weight of it resting flat on the surface.
Like that.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. And I'm going to do that backwards and forwards across the whole thing. And I'm wiping my palette knife clean at the end of each one.
No. I can't get at this bottom. Ooh,
But look at how all those little cells are starting to pop out.
I can see them. Now they're fun, aren't they?
We both used the same set of colours, but we chose different colours, and just look how different it all is. I've got a grab a bit from there.
Gaps.
Yeah, you don't fiddle, because we're going to put other things on top of here, aren't we?
Oh, look at that.
Now, there is a little something you can do, which I didn't tell you about getting hold of, but one of the things you can do is you can use, I've just got here a bottle of water sprayed.
Mm-hmm.
You just spray over it with a little bit of water. It sometimes breaks the surface tension and makes a few more holes pop up, but you've got loads of holes in there, so that's cool. You don't need it. And then the next thing we do is just sit here and watch it.
And see it develop.
Yeah.
I'm just going, even my, that's beautiful on its own, look.
Yes, absolutely.
Goodness. Look at that. Wow.
It's a very simple process, isn't it? That it's already all mixed exactly how you need it to be.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just choosing your colours, and then the rest of it is incredibly random.
Goodness gracious me. That's beautiful, isn't it? I love the way the colours all sort of marble together.
Yeah.
And bleed together.
Bleeding colours.
Yes, that's really exciting because I've got some circles here that are white with a blue ring around them.
Yeah.
And these little black dots here, and oh, it's lovely. I really like it. Now, it's worth saying for people who might be asthmatic or have issues, it is smelly. So, you know, just be aware that if you have those kind of health issues, you'd need to be doing this in an open space or with good ventilation. Denise and I are both here. It's kind of winter months, and we're working with the windows closed and in a closed room. So it's just a thought for you if you're going to be at home and thinking about.
I don't smell the smell anymore. Is it the paint or the silicone oil that you're smelling?
I don't, you know, it's a good point, isn't it? So hold on, let's have a sniff of the silicone oil.
It smells like acrylic
I fall
paint.
off my chair. Let's have a sniff of the silicone oil. Now, if I fall off my chair, no, it's not that. That's odorless. So therefore, it's got to be the paints, isn't it?
It does have a bit of a smell, but to me, it just smells like
Yeah.
acrylic paint.
That is the smell that I'm experienced when I go and have my acrylic false nails put on. That's that smell. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose I'm so used to it that I don't really smell it anymore.
Don't smell it anymore. Yeah.
But yeah, it is a good point. It is a good point. Right, am I going to be able to get you to put some tree ring paws onto there, or do you want to leave that as is? Have you got another board or a piece of canvas?
Another board. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll grab your other board and we'll do a tree ring paw onto something else.
Yes,
that is
because then it'd be nice to compare the different things too, wouldn't it?
Before you put it away, let me just say you need to leave these flat for 24 to 48 hours. And then sometimes, depending on how much silicone oil you've put in, you might need to just wipe them. I use glass cleaner, or you can use a mild, like washing up liquid cloth cover with a sort of, just rinse it out like you would washing up, just make up a soapy solution and just wipe it over, and that'll clean the oil off the top.
So why? Because it's literally oily, is it?
It can be oily, yeah, you can touch it and you can get the oil on your hands. So it's just to clean it up afterwards, especially if you want to varnish or put maybe some resin or something over the top. You need to clean that oil there because things won't stick to it.
Interesting.
But also, it's worth doing just to clean the oil off because it can leave a little residue.
Oh, that's interesting. I would never have thought of that. I just assumed it was all absorbed into, you know.
No,
it metamorphoses into the doodle.
Yeah, you'll see tomorrow, and I'll get you to take pictures of it tomorrow because they will continue to develop.
All right, lovely. What are you using? I'm using mixed media board, Frisk mixed media board, which I bought from the SAA.
I've never used it, but if you're using that, I'm using these canvas panels.
Okay.
So,
all right, they give you a good finish. Yes, obviously that's what you've used for your others.
Yes, it is. Yeah, just wiping my surface down a little bit. I'm going to just do a quick explain. What are you cleaning? Yeah, you're wise to wear gloves, Sharon, because I do get into a bit of a mess, but because it's acrylic, it does wash. So we've got those two with the oil in, and then you need your cup. We'll only need one of these, but we need your plastic cup.
Okay.
So again, we start building. So we put a squirt in the bottom of the cup. Any old colour. Does that cover the bottom?
Only just.
A bit more then.
Right.
I'm going to do some black, but because I know how powerful it can be, I'm not putting lots of the black in.
Yeah.
Your oil colours that you've put the silicone oil in.
Yeah.
Put about a half of what you've mixed up.
Yeah.
Then perhaps some white. This is just building in the cup, so just a squirt.
Yeah.
Bit of something else. There's a bit of red going in.
And what was that? Half of.
That was just the red. Now I'm going to put the half of the other oil-based one that I've mixed up. Put those to the side. And I'm coming back in a bit more gold, a bit more white. So that's about how much you can see I've got in the bottom of my cup.
Right, I think I'm about the same as you. I think. Can I see the side of your cup-ish, roughly, a bit? Yeah, okay, yeah.
And that's what it looks like in the middle.
Okay, yeah.
No stirring, no pouring, no nothing.
Okay.
Now, the way we get the tree ring pour is by pouring this into one spot.
Okay.
What happens is it just spreads out. So if you just watch for a minute, I'll just show you. Slowly. Keep your hand quite still.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
As it spreads out, you can start to see those rings. And I'm going to get it to about that size and then just stop. But you can see all of those rings come from those colours spreading out.
Cool, isn't it? All right, am I ready to have a go?
Maybe not quite the whole cup, but just in the centre of the picture, just hold the cup still and pour.
Tell me when you think I ought to stop.
I will.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Isn't it just?
Oh my goodness. I've seen this done on YouTube, never ever thought I'd have a go at it.
Keep going.
Oh, Denise, that's beautiful.
I love the tree ring pour, I have to say.
Oh. It doesn't spread as fast and as furiously as I expected it to.
It's possible that your board is behaving slightly different to mine. I don't know, because I'm not sure the media board. I've never used one with this. Okay, if you take your cup away, let me have a look.
I haven't got a lot left in there. Ooh, that is so pretty.
Now, one thing you can do, I don't usually bother because I quite like it as it is you can just tilt it and spread it out a bit.
Oh, I can see the gold glittering now.
Sparkles beautifully, doesn't it?
Oh, Denise, this is amazing.
Look at that.
I'm excited.
So don't spread it too far because we're going to put some more in a minute and spread some more. You can see there's tree rings, can't you now?
Yeah.
Okay, lay it back down flat.
Oh.
Then go back to your cup and have a look at the colours that don't show up and do something else. So you haven't got much white showing or much red. So maybe on your next cup that you put together, have a few more of the colours that aren't showing. I've not got much red showing in mine either, so I'm going to add more red this time.
Okay, so I need white and I need red, don't I?
With all of the other colours, but perhaps more of the white and the red.
All right.
And using the rest of the cup of the stuff with the oil
So I'm
in it.
using up the rest. How much am I making up in total, would you say?
Probably not quite as much as you did before, but similar.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Are we going to put it over the top or are we going to put it next to it?
We're going to put it over the top, but right in the middle. So again, right back into the middle, and this time just take it really slowly. Not that you didn't before, but we've got to push out of the way what is there already.
Okay. Oh, look at that.
So I'm just very slowly. And you can see everything concertina's back up a little bit, but we can do that tilting again in a minute.
Yeah. Well, it's lovely with the red in there, isn't it? Look at that.
Yeah. Do the fuffing on the edge is avoid taking it over the edge. You can do it so that it drips off the edge. But in this instance, I want to take it nearly to the edge, but not quite. And then bring it back into the middle. And I'm just going to let that sit for a minute whilst you do yours.
See what?
Okay.
So gently, gently.
Gently, gently.
So that's all the rest of the blue I had with the silicone in it. Now the gold is making an appearance.
You start seeing it tipping out, can't you?
Yeah. And as you say, the rest is all kind of concertina-ing, isn't it?
Yeah. And every time you do this, it behaves differently. Some days I get loads of cells, some days I get very little. There's a trick that we can do if you want huge cells to appear on this.
Ooh! It's so exciting, look at that. Reminds me of a vinyl record.
Yes. Yeah, all the little grooves.
That's beautiful with white making an appearance now.
I do think the white is quite important.
Yes. Contrast again, isn't it? You know, light against dark. All my fans out there will be saying, oh, she's off again.
Nothing wrong with having a theme and sticking to it.
Oh, absolutely. My mantra, that is. Dark against light, light against dark. It's your darks that make your lights look light.
Yep.
That's beautiful. Loving that. Loving that. And then I'm just going to move it around again.
Just tilt it a little bit.
How are we doing?
It's definitely a technique that deserves a close look, doesn't it?
Yes, very much so. Because if you were to focus in on that now, that is beautiful in its own right, isn't it?
Yeah, completely.
So I'm going to do a bit of shifting and shimmying now. I'm trying to pay attention a little bit to the pattern that I've got. Yeah. And my board, I believe, is a little bit bigger than yours, so maybe I can afford to
stretch it
a little bit more, stretch it a little further. Oh, look at that.
And it's so unpredictable.
Do you know what? I'm surprised at the surface tension. I thought that that would just run away off the page.
That's the beauty of this premix. It's exactly the right consistency.
Now this is going to be beautiful because this is all going to stretch here.
Yeah, I haven't got room to stretch mine as much. I put more paint on and I've got a smaller board.
Yes.
Oh, that is stunning, Sharon.
Look at that. Oh my word, look at that. So I'm just going to let that run down that board to stretch it as much as I can to see what happens. Because that should pull all this, shouldn't it?
Yes.
Looks like water, doesn't it? Waves on the seaside. Here we go. I don't think I want to do too much more there, really, do I?
Well, I'm going to get you to edge it in a minute. So if you just I wouldn't stretch that more. I think that's beautiful as it is.
Okay. Oh.
The next little bit we're going to do is if you take the white.
Yep.
And fill in any gaps around the edges.
Oh, I've seen people do this too. Now, what's the point of that?
You'll see in a minute.
Ah. So how much do I need?
Enough to fill in the gaps. So I'm just pouring it on, but again, then you can use your palette knife to spread it out. It needs to be a similar thickness to the paint you've got in the middle.
Okay. Oh, do you know what? You just started a new hobby here. I can see it.
I hope so, because I'm
loving it. Loving it.
Now I've got a little trick for you. When you paint right up to the edge, you do sometimes, like I'm having here, you get little bits that start to run off the edges.
Yeah.
Then your board can stick to your surface.
So stand it on something.
So what I'm going to do is take some of the cups, just stand them upside down and just sit it on top.
Right, okay, that's good, good advice. Right, so I've done that then, miss.
Okay, next thing is to get your straw.
Yeah.
Okay, if I just...
I think that's
and then what you're going to do...
I'm going to fluff, go around the edge and fluff.
Yeah.
What happens if you blow the white into the blue?
Try it. I've done some blowing white into blue and some blowing blue into white. And that gives you that sort of speckled edge.
Rather than the hard rounded edge.
Yeah, there isn't a right or a wrong. You know.
It's interesting to just point out to everybody that this is so very, very shiny that it is reflecting my ring light perfectly. Look at that. That's how shiny it is. So if I can find a way to just block that for a second.
There you go. You can see it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
This is gorgeous through here, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
And that through there. It looks like agate, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looks just like agate.
And I love the way, you know, you get little layers of colour, the way that they pour out, and then another layer will be in a different space.
Yes.
I find it fascinating.
And the gold really glistens, doesn't it? Because in some places it's very, very shimmery, almost as though it has glitter in it. But down here it's brown nearly. Because I suppose
got it with
that's,
the black.
Yes, it's mixed with the black, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
so
lovely.
why I wanted you to do the tree ring pot. I just love the tree ring pot.
I'm not surprised. I've got a couple of cells, which is nice, some in the middle and here.
They will still pop up. The swipe that we did will have more cells in it because the nature of rubbing across the top of it bursts the oil.
Okay,
bits,
yeah.
and that makes the cells.
Yes.
So the tree ring never has quite as many cells in it.
Yeah. This is completely different. So it's Pebeo, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's completely different to the other Pebeo that we've used and we've seen in the past, the Vitre and the Moon and okay.
This is a water-based acrylic paint as opposed to those are an oil-based glass paint. So yeah, it's a different product completely. And as you quite rightly pointed out before, you can take any acrylic paint and add a pouring medium to it and do this with any colours.
Okay.
They do sell this pre-mixed in lots of different colours, so you know it just makes it that much easier to use. But now we do have to wait for these to dry, so you have to leave them somewhere flat. There is no point in putting it on a shelf that is on a slight tilt, because you will come back and find it mostly on your floor.
Yeah.
So what we will do is when these are all completely dry, we'll take some photographs of them and add them to the end of the clip.
Yeah.
And in that respect, if I have got some that I've got stacked in storage, I tend to put a piece of paper towel between them.
Oh, just to make sure they're safe.
Just to protect them.
Yeah.
Until I get them into the frames. And I'm just going to show you the frames actually. This is something we can add in here.
Yeah.
I quite like them in these frames.
Yes, I do. I noticed that when you were showing us. Yeah.
They're tray frames. And they're held in with Velcro.
No.
So you just pop them in and Velcro them into place.
I've never seen those before.
Clever, aren't they?
Fabulous, yes. And they do them in all the sort of standard sizes, presumably.
Yeah, you can get them. I quite like this thickness. They do one that's not quite so thick. They do them in black, in white, and any size you want. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Gosh, that's useful, isn't it?
Yes.
Saves all that grief of having to go and choose a frame and get it mounted and I hate all that.
Yeah, but I think they look fabulous because they look like blocks.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're just Velcroed in.
And very modern. You know, if you're thinking about a new house, that would be a very modern look, wouldn't it, to a room?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Yeah. Smashing. And if people wanted to buy them, where would they need to go to? You know, where would they be looking to?
Just search for Pebeo Pouring Experiences. So just have a look online and see where you can get hold of them. Quite a lot of art shops now do them, but you know, around the country it's going to be in different places. So just have a look online and see where you can get hold of them.
Yeah, yeah. So Pebeo Pouring Experiences. Again, we'll put the names up at the end of the video so that you can.
We will do. So again, just to show you, it's the Pebeo Pouring Experiences.
Lovely.
That's that. But again, you know, looking at this now, having just done that little bit, a few more cells are popping out.
Oh yes, so they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so's my. Okay.
Oh dear, what's a bit of paint between friends, eh?
Absolutely. So did you have fun?
Oh, it's wonderful. I like it very much. I'd like to explore some more actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's given me the courage to want to do it now.
It is one of those things that you kind of look at it and you think, I've seen all these people doing it online and it's really complicated, and particularly when people have gone announcing their recipes for their pouring mediums and all the rest of it, and you know, you just kind of think, can I not just have a go? This stuff allows you to just have a go.
You can. And I mean, if you're worried about keeping it tidy and clean, I've seen people buying the garden trays that you put your plants in, the big garden trays, and just use one of those so that it keeps it all in one place.
Or if, like me, you put it onto a potter's wheel and spin it, and you make a
Oh.
heck of a mess. I wore an awful lot of paint that day.
I bet you were
You know,
picking it up of your head for a week later, weren't you? Oh, look at that.
So, yeah,
Oh,
it might be
stop a
easier there.
minute.
Look, there you go. Is that better to see it in the colours?
Oh, look at the gorgeous. So all the cells in that, that's quite amazing, isn't it?
Now, the way I got all of those cells there, like I say, when you disrupt the paint is when the cells kind of burst more. The tree ring pour doesn't burst as many cells because it's not disrupting the paint. But what I did with this one, was I put all the paint down, and then I smashed it together with another board and pulled it apart.
Oh, that really has gone bonkers, hasn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, have you had a look back at your swipe? Go and have a
Yes,
little look at how
it's sitting in front of me and it's quite spectacular. Let me just bring it across again, if I can get hold of it without making a mess.
mine has developed. See, look at those with that swipe and the way those cells have popped there because we disrupted them. Fab.
That really is amazing, isn't it? I'm well chuffed with that. So that's fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very, very pleasing. So to be honest with you, from a beginner's point of view, from my point of view, that is lovely. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yes.
I haven't made a lot of mess. All right, so I've got ag on my gloves, but big deal. That's not. Yeah. Let's have a look at your hands. So there you go. Denise didn't have any gloves on at all.
Yeah, but it'll wash off because it's just acrylic paint.
It's not going to make a mess, is it? It's not horrendous. I'm quite happy with that. So kitchen table, it would be quite all right, wouldn't it? And I mean, if
I buy these rolls of they're dust sheets on a roll.
Oh, okay.
Dust sheet on a roll.
Yep.
You could put that
That's
down.
a good idea.
Like you say, a garden tray or even like a lettuce box that you get out of the supermarket and just put that down and sit it in that whilst you work.
Good idea. Good idea. Yeah. And more cells are appearing. Look, I can see them on yours.
Yeah. And that was just doing that little bit of popping with the gun. The other thing, like I say, a spray bottle, a spray of water sometimes does the same because it just breaks the surface tension on any bubbles and allows them to kind of just pop.
Oh, wow. Yes, I'm chuffed with that.
Good. And you would have another go?
Oh, yeah.
And you can see there's, you know, we use the same colours in the same sort of techniques, but just applied them in a slightly different way. One went one with white and one we just poured into the middle.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah. So, and like I say, you can do two pieces together and you get something different. You can spin it, you can get something different. So it's limitless as to the different ways you can play with it.
So just out of interest, I mean, how resilient is this, is the word I'm looking for. I mean, if you wanted to use it for something else, this would make a cover for a notebook, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would make a cover for a notebook. At the moment, it's quite thick. So if, for example, the ones where I put the beads in, the beads kind of sink into it because it's quite a thick layer of paint. But as it dries, it thins down. So it's not raised so much. So then, yes, you can use it for a cover of a notebook. I do know people who use it for things like coasters and things like that, but you do need to then varnish it with something that is appropriate, a heat-resistant varnish or a heat-resistant resin of some sort over the top.
That's what I was going to
paint. It's not food safe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's designed as an art material, not as a
Yeah,
food product
a
material.
practical, yeah, okay. So you're really looking for arty things to do with it, aren't you, to be honest?
Something like a coaster is fine because you then varnish it and you're not putting your food directly onto it, but I wouldn't use it. You could use it, say, on the handle end of a chopping board, but not the bit you're going to cut onto, that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not food safe unless you can find a varnish or a coating that you can put on that is a food safe coating or resin over the top.
Yeah.
But I know Pebeo say very definitely we create art products, not food safe products.
Okay.
So that's a whole different level of testing.
Yeah. Oh yes, you could do lots of lovely things. Make panels for wardrobes, and couldn't you? Realistically,
door fronts. You know, when you're upcycling, you could fill in. I've actually done a table, and again, I'll put a link in the notes. I've done the top of a table.
Oh yes, let's see that, because that's lovely. I've actually seen that in the flesh, and it's beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. So you know, there's lots of different things you can do with it.
I'm
gonna have lots of things to put in the link, aren't I?
Well, yes. And I mean, of course, in the same manner, if there's anything that you come up with at home that you have tried and you think is worth mentioning, do get in touch with the Travelling Brush Dippers, because we'd love to see, and we'd like to show everybody else.
Very much like to see if you want to put anything in the notes. And one of the things with all of our episodes is we do them because we love them, but we so love getting your comments and hearing your reaction to what we do. So for all of those of you who have commented and will comment, thank you. We do really appreciate it.
Yes, it's important. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. So that's acrylic pouring experiences from Pebeo, from a complete newbie, and I think you've had some fun.
Oh, I have had some fun, yes. Yes, what's next? What's next?
Who knows? You'll just have to keep watching.
Yeah. So to say to everybody, thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for joining us. We've had fun. We hope you've had fun, and we hope that next time you'll come along and you'll
dip into our conversation.
Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
They might work.
Probably, perhaps, might.
Could, maybe, possibly, on a good day with a following wind. Oh no, don't fall over. If I put that there, I don't think you'll see that. Now hold up, I'm gonna, and you can't see all that in there. Oh, aren't we clever?
But I can see your lovely face.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Right. Getting rid of the sellotape might help, mightn't it?
Yes, I did that already.
You're just showing off now.
I am.
Obviously much more organised than me here. Right. Managed not to cut myself with a scalpel.
Please don't go off and have to be medically assisted to.
So sorry, this episode of the Travelling Brush Dippers will be held in Portsmouth A&E.
Let's hope not. It's not that dangerous stuff, honestly.
Oh dear.
That's definitely a plus to put the lid back on.
In tomato sauce territory, aren't you?
Yes.
Why this is ready to use.
Ready to wear lipstick.